Okay, and welcome to part 4 of a who freaking knows how long introduction to making a cooking game in Photon Fusion, kind of, sort of, maybe, but not exactly. When last we left, we had a game where we could move around, we could spawn delicious foods, we could then pick up those foods, and we had a customer that moved to a location, but really not much happened. We also had this bug with our character controller where the character controller was not turning. And that's actually the first thing we are going to fix today when this compiles. Now it is caught up with our life. As I said, the first thing we're going to fix is the turning capability of our character. I believe this was video 1 or video 2. I was mystified as why it's not working. Something I'd fixed a long time ago. So we're going to go find our character controller on our prefab. So into assets, we're going to go into prefabs. We're going to go find our cooking player. And inside of cooking player, we are going to find this one here, the controller prototype. And we are going to edit that script. So we're going to open it up. I already have it open, so it opened up pretty quickly for me. Now, if we look in here, it was hard-coded to the script that we used to create our cooking character controller. So it has this thing called a network character controller prototype that it references to control the character. But we're not using the network character controller prototype. We're using the cooking character controller, not prototype. So we're going to replace here on line 7 in controller prototype.cs this network character controller prototype with cooking character controller. It's quite the phrase. We're going to replace it there. And there's one other place that we're going to replace it, or it must be replaced, and that's down on line 31. This get component has to be replaced with cooking character controller as well. Both of those are inside of controller prototype. The script is attached to the cooking player prefab. And once we do that, if we run this application again, and we start host, our character will actually spin. He moves a little bit slower, and actually I'm not a big fan of how this particular version works, but that's fine. So the next thing that I want to work on now is this, this customer here coming and requesting an object. So let's continue to work on that. We're going to go find our customer prefab here, and I'm going to open up my cheater project. And I'm going to go into there, and I'm going to find our customer. So we're going to go into our prefabs folder. We're going to go into to double click on customer, because we're going to customize customer and give it a little bit more capability than what I had before. With customer selected in the customer prefab, we're going to go to game object. We're going to go down to UI. And we're going to go to Text Test Mesh Pro. Likely, this is the first time you're using Text Mesh Pro in this project, so you're going to have to import Text Mesh Pro Essentials, and that's going to take a second, so I'm going to pause for that. Now, once it's imported, it's going to leave you with this. You do not need to import TMP examples and extras. That can go. So we're going to close that. And that's going to give you a couple of things. It's going to give you a canvas, and it's going to give you a Text Mesh Pro inside of here. By default, Unity's canvas is set to always render in the screen space. So if I were to look at, now it won't appear in game, it would appear as not screen, yeah, screen space. So it's going to appear on top of all of your UI here, which is usually not what I want for this particular project. It is usually what you want, right? Because you want like score to always be flat on top of the rest of your screen. I want this text, however, to appear in the game. So once I've added the Text Mesh Pro, I'm going to go select canvas. I'm going to go to over here in Canvas where it says render mode and select world space. And this will be a little bit awkward, but it will work for our sort of testing and debugging purposes here. We want to refine it a bit more as we continue to work on this. But that'll be fine for now. And then I'm going to go select the text, and I'm going to change this text. Oh, shit, I did this wrong. Good grief. Let's delete that canvas. That's actually one way to do it, but it's not how I'm going to do it here. We're going to go to 3D object. We're we're going to go to text mesh pro, and we're going to call this order text. This makes a lot more sense to me. Good grief. Okay. So again, game object, 3D object, text mesh pro. And we're going to just pull this over here. This may not be aligned the right way. You might need to do some finagling of it later to get it sort of aligned the way you want. And ideally, we would write a script to always make this face the camera, but I'm going to be lazy here. I'm going to say that up front. I'm going to be very lazy. And this text is way too huge because this is our character. So we want it to be sort of readable above our character. So with the order text selected, I'm going to go down to its inspector. I'm going to go to its font size. I'm going to try like 20. That looks better. I'm going to try 16. I think 16 will feel pretty good. And I'm also going to go ahead and center that text. So that seems fine for now. This will be fine enough. And this is going to be the way that our customer gives us feedback. So it's going to tell us what it wants. It's also going to give us textual feedback on if the customer was happy or not. So now let's code up our customer to actually expect something and tell us that it was expecting something. We're going to go to the root customer here, and we're going to find its customer script. We're going to edit that script. And then I'm going to open up my cheater script as well that I've finished before, much like a cooking show. And we'll let it pause for a second. All right, so here inside of our customer, we have the code right now to, when we awake, to find a position that we want to go to wait at that position for a short while and to walk away. But we haven't done the ordering yet. So let's go add a new public property to our character. And that is what food we have chosen and also what foods we might choose. So public string, this will be an array, possible foods, choose. And then a private string, chosen food. So we have sort of a plural of food that we're going to choose and then the one that we actually did choose. And then the last thing that we are going to put in here is the text, so we can actually respond to the player. So we're going to make a public tmp underscore text, and we haven't imported this yet, so that's not going to quite work. We'll name it order text. So this is in red underlining because we haven't imported the capability to use Text Mesh Pro yet. That's a different thing. So we're going to put using space tm pro here at the very top, and that will get rid of that red underline. Great. Now we're going to hop down to our awake, and we do two things when this component or when this object wakes up right now. Number one, we sort of set the home, the place that we're going to return to. And number two, we kind of set our nav mesh agent so we know where to go. The last thing we're going to do is figure out what this particular character wants. And we're just going to select that food at random. So chosen food is equal to possible foods. Square brackets to say we're accessing an array. And then we're going to use random.range, which is a built-in Unity function, between 0 and possible foods.length -1 to select a random food within that range, right? So if we have 3, it will give us 0 between 2, which is our last array element there. So we'll choose a random food. Awesome. Now, if we come down to our state here, we had this to do that said, do the order, right? When I said this is a to do right now, but we now have this order text where we could update some text on that order. In this case, we could say order text.text is equal to chosen food plus, and they're going to be polite. So they're going to say, please. So they're going to put sort of a request there. So chosen food, please. And they'll ask for that food. Let's go ahead and give this a test. And in fact, as we come back to Unity and let it compile, we are going to see a problem. So back here, once we've let that compile, are there errors here? Clear, no, that's from running. I also want to get rid of the sample text so it's not there when the customer starts. So I'm going to go select order text and I'm going to delete the sample text from inside of there. Beautiful. And let's go ahead. Oh, actually, there's a bunch of customization we need to do on this before our orgs. So before we do that, inside of our prefabs, let's select customer. And with the customer selected, we are going to go to customer script. We're going to drop down possible foods. And I think we only have 3, right? There's 3 possible foods. So we're going to drop down possible foods. And what are those 3 actually? I'm going to select these objects. One is pizza. Another is pizza. And the third one is pizza. We have another thing we need to fix there apparently as well. So what are the 3 foods we actually have? We'll fix that other part as we go along. So we have corn dog, pizza, and sandwich. So back on our prefabs, customer, we've dropped down the list. We've put 3 for our possible food number. And we're going to do pizza for 1. We're going to do corn dog for another one. And we'll do sandwich for the third one. Those are the 3 elements the customer might want. Let's go ahead and give this a quick run. All right. And I think, did I miss my customer? What happened there? Turn that again. Start host. Oh, I need to start the game. Great. Customer comes down here. Awesome. Okay. Forgot to customize something on our player, so we're going to go back to player real fast, or not player, customer. I'm going to open up our customer prefab. And we customize what there might be, but our order text is still set to non-text mesh pro text. So we're going to drop that order text in. Ugh. I don't really want that to be a prefab. Let's get rid of that prefab. Delete unpack. Beautiful. So we're going to drag order text from here onto order text down there. So it's set. Let's run that again once more. So we're going to start host once again. We're going to walk over here. We're going to start that character walking. We're going to hope that once they get there, they're going to say something. Please say something. Awesome. They said pizza, please. And then they walk away. Great. So that's sort of a good start. Now we have a problem here, and that's back on our scene. All 3 of these spawn pizza, but sometimes the customer might request a corn dog or something else. So let's make sure all of these are actually spawning different things. I'm going to say right now, this is actually my one major regret. I have no good way of making this easy or sort of extendable. So what we're going to do is we're going to select pizza here. We're going to hit Control-C to copy, and we're going to hit Control-V to paste. Or I believe we can also hit Control-D to duplicate. On Mac, it's probably the Windows key to replace the Control key. In the end, you want 3 pizzas. We're going to rename one of them to corn dog. And we're going to rename the other one of them to sandwich. So we should have a pizza, sandwich, and corn dog. In fact, I'm going to make a folder for this. It's just called food. So they know all of these sort of share the same. This is definitely one part that I know I need some real fixing up for it to be a robust application. But yeah, it's still showing you the fundamentals. Now, sandwich currently has a pizza model in it, so we should probably fix that. I'm going to double click on sandwich and open it up. I'm going to go into my models. I'm going to pull in my sandwich prefab from models, and I'm going to delete the pizza prefab. So it's just sandwich, sort of close enough in the same location. And then I'm going to do the same thing inside of prefabs. Inside of food, I'm going to go find my corn dog prefab, and I'm going to delete I'm going to leave that in there for a second. I'm going to open up my models. I'm going to find my corn dog. I'm going to drag it in about where the pizza is. And I'm going to delete the pizza model from that scene. So now I have all 3 of my assets. They're all sort of customized. There's one last thing we need to do with the prefabs. We're going to go select corn dog. Down where it says food name pizza, we're going to replace that with corn dog, no caps. And then we're going to select sandwich. And down where it says food name, we're going to write sandwich, all lowercase, no caps. Great. And now we can finally customize our different fridges to invoke or to create different things. So this first one, let's make that one make pizza. The second one, we're going to make a corn dog, and then we're going to change the ingredient type to corn dog. And then this third one here, we're going to change it to sandwich. So we're going to drag and drop sandwich prefab onto the model to spawn. And then we're going to replace the ingredient type with sandwich. All right. Let's go test that spawning real fast. All right, and we're going to go ahead and test that. We're going to click host. We're going to walk over. We're going to do our interact button with anything but the first one. We got a Sandy. I've never actually tried it with two. I think I got it. Did I get a corn dog? Can I get a pizza too? Well, that's the problem that requires some extra code, but I'm not going to fix that in this particular one, so whatever. So we spawned those different objects now. So we've got the capability to actually serve the customer what they want. So let's work on that. I'm going to go back to our prefabs folder. We're going to find our customer. And if we didn't have that script open, we're going to make sure to reopen the customer script. So edit script. We're going to add a new function to our customer script. So we're going to do a do interact function. So we're going to go to right beneath go to table, and we're going to make a public void do interact open parentheses game object initiator. And this is very similar to what we had before. So game object initiator. And we want to know what that initiator is carrying. So game object carrying is equal to initiator dot get component. Oh, this is going to be a long one. Cooking network character controller, which I can autocomplete, but you might not be able to. Dot carried object. So we're going to get what they're carrying. If that exists, so if the player was carrying anything, we're going to check if it matches what the customer wants. So we're going to get the food. So food, capital F, what a name, equals carrying dot get component food. If f dot food name double equals this dot food desire, I call it chosen food. What? I don't care. We're going to do chosen food. So if f dot food name double equals this dot chosen food. So that means there was a match. I delivered to them what they wanted. I'm going to say order text dot text is equal to thanks. They're happy. Else, and then we'll put another set of curly brackets beneath those else's there. So else comes after those curly brackets. Else order text dot text is equal to this isn't what I wanted. So double things. And then we've delivered the food, so they don't need to keep waiting. So initiator dot get component cooking network character controller or cooking character controller for you all dot destroy. Could I spell destroy? Destroy held object, which we haven't coded yet. We're going to code that next, so be prepared for that. Agent dot set destination home, and finally state equals state dot walking. So we're going to destroy whatever the other what the player has, and then we're going to sort of send this person on their way. Wonderful. Now this doesn't exist yet, so let's go open up our cooking character controller script, either by going to our scripts or coming this way. And we need a new method inside there called destroy held object. And it sort of makes sense for that to be near the pickup object. So public pickup or drop object, both of those sort of work. Public void destroy held object. And inside of here, we're going to do two things. We're going to figure out what that game object is, and then we're going to despawn it using Photon Fusion stuff. So game object, which I shorten as Go, equals this dot carried object. So whatever we're carrying. My game object, the thing that we're carrying, dot transform, dot set parent to null. So we're not going to have it be carried around by anything anymore. So at the very least, it's not following us. And then we're also going to despawn it, which is to remove it from the game entirely, the network game entirely. So runner.despawn game object dot, or my held object dot get component network object, because you don't despawn a game object, you despawn the network object attached to it. And then open and close parentheses after those walkouts. So this is a very strange syntax, but that will destroy the object. It'll also make this customer component work correctly. So let's go give that a run. We'll let that compile. Compiled, let's run. We're just going to host. We're going to walk over. We're going to get that person to I just realized they're going to leave faster than I can cook. Let's try that again. Let's in fact adjust customer real fast. We have their wait cooldown is 5. Let's make them 30 for their wait cooldown instead. That will help significantly. They'll be much more patient for us, which is sort of important. So we're going to run. We will host. I come over. Let's actually start our food first too. So we're going to spawn a pizza, which may or may not be right. We'll see. We're just sort of pre-planning the day. We'll start the pizza cooking. Our customer's coming over. We're going to grab that pizza. We're going to walk over to the customer. I really need to. Oh my God, he's still so impatient. Okay. We'll try 120. That should be. I should up. Let's up the character speed a little bit too, actually. So let's go select cooking player real fast. No, I don't want to play. The cooking player max speed. About max speed of 4. I think that will be good. And maybe a little bit more acceleration for that player too. So acceleration is 10. Let's try 14. That should help us. More wait time for the customer, but also just a faster chef. Both good things. We're gonna go cook a pizza. Oh yeah, fast is good here. So we're gonna go cook a pizza. Deposit pizza. We're gonna start the customer coming. We're gonna grab that pizza, no matter how cooked it is. We're gonna go walk over to the customer. We're gonna try to deliver the customer, and we can't. So we need to fix that actually. So let's go to our customer. And we are on our customer going to do a few things. That's actually a good question. So on our customer, we are going to, with the customer root object selected, we're going to go down to add component. We're going to add a box collider. And we're making a box collider just heckin' huge. So we can do this in a couple of ways. We can either, with that customer selected, hit add a collider and drag out. Why don't I have add a collider and then drag out those hooks, right? So big, big, bigger. Or we can adjust our size here. So I know I want my Y to be larger just in case. I'm going to up the Y. I'm going to up my Z. I'm going to up my X. You can see I'm scrubbing on this, which just means I'm hovering over X and sort of scrubbing. And then to sort of center it again, I'll center the Y. That should be pretty decent-ish. Cool. And then we're going to click is trigger on this box to make sure it's a trigger. And we'll click run and hope that this sort of completes the cycle. Start host. Here's our character. We're going to start that pizza. Once we've done that, we're going to summon a thing. We're going to grab our pizza. We're going to walk over. I'm going to deliver to the player, and they said thanks. Holy shit, is pizza what they actually wanted? Dang. I want to get one where I don't deliver the right thing. They said thanks, that means our if statement is clearly working, but let's make sure it really is working. We're going to go start I really hope it's not. You're still a pizza? What? You shouldn't be spawning a pizza though. Was I still inadvertently over the pizza one? I know I got all three of them. I remember a sandwich at least. Let's start. Okay, sandwich. Sandwich definitely exists. Deposit sandwich. Please do not order a sandwich, customer. We're going to grab our sandwich. We're going to walk over. I don't know what that says. I think this is corn dog. And they said, this is the one I wanted. And they walked away. Great. So we've got the full cycle there of customer coming in, ordering a thing, getting something, either liking it or not, based on the tag that we have on this ingredient, right? So if it's a corn dog, and the customer has tags here of pizza, corn dog, sandwich. So they said they wanted a corn dog. I gave them a sandwich. They said, I don't like this. We don't have a score, but we can reference maybe some of the other things we've done in this class or we've seen online to see like how I might access sort of a semi-global score and operate on that. Great. So that completes that cycle. Let's build into the next piece of this problem here, which is creating a login system and a series of pages that get us into this, and then doing, oh no, there's actually one more thing I want to do. Let's get our cooking player not looking so boring. Because right now our cooking player looks very boring. Our cooking player is just the pill man. So let's get a 3D asset that actually works for this. So there's a bunch of 3D assets that we could use with this. But the one that I use for this one is a free model on the Unity asset store called Super Cyan, and I use it because it comes pre-set up with some animations. So I'm going to go to Unity asset store. You'll need to log in for this, but you need to sort of log in anyway for this to work correctly. Ooh, Black Friday sale. These look cool. I like that one. I'm going to look for Super Cyan, which is Super C-Y-A-N, because I want a particular character here, the character pack free samples. There's all sorts of ones you can use. I like this one because it was sort of cute and it works. Click to add to my assets if you don't have it already. I'm not logged in, that's why I don't see it. So click add to my assets, sure, whatever. Click on whatever appears, click open in Unity. Yes, open in Unity editor. It opened in the wrong editor. But you'll see a page that looks like this. This is character pack free sample. Click import. But I'm going to need to open in the right editor, so I'm going to go find it, which can be kind of instructive anyway. So we're going to go to Window Package Manager. We're going to go not to Packages in Projects or Unity Registry, but My Assets. And we can search for it, which I'm going to need to do because I don't think it's in alphabetical order. So I'm going to search for Super Cyan here to find that character pack, and I'm going to click Import here. And I'm just going to import everything. So I'm going to download everything. If you haven't done this before, you actually might need to click the download button first and then the import button to get those. But you'll get your character pack downloaded, and won't that be exciting? Once you downloaded it and import this, you'll get a new folder here, which is our Super Cyan character pack free sample, which has a whole bunch of stuff there that will be useful for us. We're going to go to our prefabs folder. We're going to open up Cooking Player. And with this prefab open, we're then going to go back to our root assets folder and to Super Cyan, into prefabs. I think I did base. I did mobile, I think. I might have done high quality. It doesn't matter too much, but let's go with mobile if possible. So assets, Super Cyan character pack free sample, prefabs, base, mobile. We're going to drag this guy in. There he is. Isn't he lovely? So with this guy in here, I'm going to sort of position him about where Mr. Pillman is. So down there-ish. Wonderful. And then I'm going to go to graphic here, and I'm going to deselect graphic to make it disappear. Now you could see that mobile mail free one was a little small. So with the root here selected, I'm going to hit that and then just scale up from that root to make him sort of look like that. And the next thing we need to do for this character, because if we played right now, he would just slide around, and that's not really what I want, is to begin to set up his animations. There's two ways, two things that we need to do to get these animations set up. The first thing we're going to need to do is to find his animator. So if we look here, oh, he does have it. Find his controller. So by default, this prefab for some reason does not come with a controller set, but the controller is the thing that tells it what animation to play when based on some cool numbers we send to it. For whatever reason, it's not set up by default in this prefab. So once we get it in here, select mobile mail free one, go click on controller, that little target icon there, and select free animations one. That's going to open up our animator. And if we open this up, we double click on it to take a look at it. It's pretty simple. It's just like, here's our midair, here's our land, here's our jump, here's our movement. Great. And so now if we were to play the game, we would at least get animation. Not interesting animation, but animation. Start host. There he is. He believes right now that he is currently in midair. And in fact, if we go select this, well, sometimes we can see, oh, we need the one in the game. So go find my character. Where is my cooking player? Where is the animator? So he believes he's in midair, right? And so he's playing his midair animation. So he just is sort of constantly falling. So we have the animations working. They're just not great yet. To get the animations doing what we want them to do, we're going to have to go to our favorite, the cooking character controller. So go find cooking character controller in your C# scripts script folder. And we are going to add a couple of extra things here to make it so that our animator actually does what we want. So up at the top, we have our interact point and our interact radius, our carried object and our carry point. We're going to make one more public variable. So public animator with all lowercase a. So we're going to set up that public variable there. Is there something else that we need to add here? I have the sense that I did one more thing. No, I think the rest of it we have already. Great. So once we've added the animator, we are going to scroll down to, we're going to scroll down to our move function. And at the very bottom of our move function, where we have is grounded at the very bottom, we are going to add a new line of code. This is animator, lowercase a, dot set float, move speed, capital M and capital S as a string, so double quotes around it, and velocity dot magnitude. So we're just going to tell it like how quickly I'm moving. So velocity dot magnitude. And there is one other position that we need to do this. And I'm not certain where. Oh, I know how to cheat this one. Okay. So we're going to set that move speed. And this tells the animator if we're currently moving quickly or not. Now, most animators have a jump feature that also goes in that jump mode that we saw there. I don't want to code that because it takes a lot of effort to code that, and I'm trying to keep this, it's already complex enough, folks. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go find that animator, that controller there, free animations. We're going to open it up. And what we're going to do is, and this will be helpful for us anyway. See these arrows here? These are our transitions. These are the things that trigger the switch from one mode to another. So we start in midair and we switch to all these different modes if I'm grounded is true. Here I go from movement to jump if grounded is false. I go from jump to land if grounded is true. There's another one too, and I forget where it is. There's a wave and pickup? That rules. So there's one other one that's like an idle. I'm fairly certain that I cannot find for the life of me right now. Which is actually kind of troubling. But all these things, these grounded variables control what animation we're playing. So we go over to not the layers for our animator, but the parameters. We'll see there's a bunch of things here, and one of which was move speed that I have you set. So we're actually setting this variable via script. But there's another one here, which is land. Just go ahead and toggle that on. So go find this animator. It's actually under assets, supersign character pack, free sample, animator controllers, free animations. And then once that opens up in its own little tab / window, sometimes it looks like this when you first open it up. I have it in a tab, but sometimes it is sort of like floating. Go click on parameters and turn on land. That's just going to automatically make sure it's checked. It's automatically going to put us into the walk cycle. So now if we play, and we click start host, our character is still doing awful, terrible things. What's going on here? The variable oh, well, we have to assign it. Good grief. So we have that public animator. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but we're going to do this the easy way. We're going to go to our prefabs folder. We're going to go select our cooking player. I'm going to double click on them. Oh, it's over open. Beautiful. And then down here where it says none animator, well, the animator is on my male model here. So I'm going to drag that male model in there, and that's going to select the animator that's attached to it. Now we should be good. Hopefully. Sometimes it does what we want, and sometimes it doesn't. No, he's still kind of spooking at us. What did I miss in the version that I coded and the version that you guys have? Or that we have right now? Let me figure this out. What it was me being bad and making an assumption when I shouldn't have made an assumption. Let's go back to cooking player. Let's go find that mobile mail animator for the animator. I'm going to double click on the animator. Oh, hit the little target no. I will find a way to edit this animator. To double click on the controller. So go find the mobile mail free model, double click on the free animations controller. And then under parameters for the controller, it's not land, which triggers the landing animation. It's grounded. We want to select. So make sure grounded is selected. And in fact, this is the thing here that's controlling this movement state here is not a single animation. It's actually we would call this a blend tree. So we double click on movement. It has sort of a set of different animations that it can be playing based on my movement speed. So if my movement speed is rather high, it will go up to these things. If it's rather low, it will play these others. We'll do a backwards run, a walk, an idle, a walk, or backwards walk, a walk, and a run. So it moves forwards and backwards for us, which is pretty cool based on that movement speed number that we're sending in. Now that we set grounded as true for that player animator, we should be good to go. Let's test this real fast. I'll click host. And I'm going to walk my little character around. Look at him go. He's beautiful. He kind of moves a little bit awkward, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. And so now I've got like a little character animator that can live his best life. And we could use a similar mechanism for, say, this character over here. I'm just not going to in this version. Let's get started on one more thing for this one, just to sort of begin the process of what we need for the next video. And that's making a couple of scenes to start this up. So under scenes, you'll see that I have a game scene. But in our final game, I actually want sort of a start game scene, a lobby scene, and then the actual game scene that we're in. So I'm going to go ahead and create two new scenes. So create the scene, and we're going to call this one main menu. And I'm going to create scene. I'm going to call this one lobby scene. So now we have our two scenes set up and ready to go. these are the two things we're going to focus on for the next video, creating a lobby, creating a main menu. Make sure as you swap between them, we've got them, and they all just sort of look like similar things. So the last bit of the puzzle for this next piece is sort of learning how to move between scenes and do a little bit of customization as we move through those scenes to start up a game.